Hi dear students, welcome to Sri Ram's IAS. I am Kavita. In this lecture, we will be discussing an interesting topic in paper 2 anthropology. The topic is Sanskritization. The topic is Sanskritization. So before that, I would like to give you some important information, that is the comprehensive batch on anthropology optional by Sri Ram's IAS on Unacademy platform will commence on 17th of July, and the teachers are myself Kavita and Tirumurugan sir. So in case you have not enrolled for the anthropology optional course as of now, you can do it now. Also, we have a mission 1 year for UPSC Civil Services Examination 2024. This is a comprehensive batch for UPSC Civil Services Examination 2024. The batch covers 100% syllabus of UPSC in an integrated manner, and it gives you a complete preparation for prelims, mains and interview stages of the civil services examination in a structured manner by the top educators in the country. So if you wish to enroll for the general studies course or the optional subject course, you can do so immediately. Now coming to our topic of discussion, that is Sanskritization. The concept of Sanskritization was given by M.N. Srinivas. M.N. Srinivas is a renowned Indian anthropologist, and his contribution to Indian anthropology is immense. We will be discussing about the many contributions of M.N. Srinivas in another lecture. As of now, you understand that the concept of Sanskritization was given by M.N. Srinivas in his study Religion and Society among the Coorgs of South India. Okay, so in the study Religion and Society among the Coorgs of South India. So he studied the Coorgs. What is Coorg? Coorg is actually a district in Karnataka. In Karnataka state, we have a district called Coorg. Okay, so in that district, he studied about the religion and the society of these people in this district. So in this study, he gave the concept of Sanskritization. Okay, so what is Sanskritization? Sanskritization is a process of cultural mobility in traditional rural India. Okay, so it is a process by which people move to a better status. In the sense, I'm not speaking about economical migration or economical mobility. It is in terms of culture. So Sanskritization is a process of cultural mobility. How the lower caste people move towards the higher caste status through various, which we'll be discussing shortly. So understand that Sanskritization is a process of cultural mobility which we can find in traditional rural India. That is how a lower caste or a tribe or a group aspires to acquire the status of a higher caste, and they start practicing that. That is, they start practicing the belief, religion, lifestyle of the higher caste people, and they slowly transform to the higher caste status. This is what we call it as Sanskritization. So keep in mind, this sentence is very important. That is, Sanskritization is the process of cultural mobility in traditional rural India. Got it? Sanskritization is the process of cultural mobility in traditional rural India. Fine. So, our M.N. Srinivas defines Sanskritization as a process by which a lower caste or a tribe or any other group imitates the custom, rituals, belief, ideology and lifestyle of a higher caste in order to claim their status. This is called as Sanskritization. Okay. So M.N. Srinivas says that any lower caste. So we know that caste is a hierarchical pattern, isn't it? Among castes, though we have thousands and millions of castes in our country, we have castes, we have actually placed caste in a hierarchical order, isn't it? That is like a ladder. So we have the lowermost caste, then we have castes which come in the middle, and then we have the upper castes, isn't it? So we place castes in a hierarchy, in a ladder like fashion. So certain castes come under lower caste status, certain come in the mid range, and certain castes come under the top, that is a topmost class, topmost caste, isn't it? So if you have noticed, at least in villages, even now, you can see that the members belonging to the lower caste or the communities are treated in a very bad way, isn't it? So they are not given all the privileges. They do not enjoy all the privileges and comforts and luxuries which a higher caste member enjoys, be it in terms of education or employment or any other power, prestige, or whatever. Okay, so earlier our caste system was so rigid that a person belonging to a particular caste had to continue that same occupation. He or she could not aspire for any other occupation other than the caste in which he or she is born into. Okay, say for example, a person, a boy born into a cobbler, like say a boy who's born into a cobbler's family. He cannot aspire to become a teacher or a professor or a priest, or he cannot aspire to become a doctor or an engineer. No matter what, he had to follow the same profession as his father, that is mending shoes, right? So like this, the lower caste communities have been facing lot of challenges and difficulties in all the spheres, be it economically, financially, in terms of power, prestige, occupying better jobs, taking up education, or occupying government positions, or taking up political positions or administrative positions. The lower caste communities have been suffering a lot of harassment, and a lot of, they have been missing out from lot of privileges. It was only the higher caste communities who used to get all the privileges and comforts of the of the society. They used to occupy better positions in administration or political posts. They used to get education. They used to occupy good positions. They used to get lot of power, prestige, and respect in the society. Whereas the lower caste people were not even given access to temples. Can you believe that? So these kind of practices were prevalent prior to independence. Thankfully, now there's a lot of change which has happened. No, now anybody can aspire for better education, to take up better jobs, and aspire whatever they want to do in their life. But this was not the case when our caste system was very rigid during our pre-independence era. Okay, so later with the coming of the constitution and the equality, concept of equality and fundamental rights and so on, now our situation is much better. But even now in there are even now in many villages, and even many remote places and in few villages, caste system is very rigid. Even though they get education and they can take up different jobs and all, still they do not get the required respect which they deserve. So there were very bad practices which were followed, wherein the low caste communities were not given access to common wells, common drinking sources, drinking water sources. Okay, they were not allowed to enter into the temples. They were not allowed to walk or take the common roads which is meant for everyone in the village. So like this, they have been facing a lot of discrimination from the past. So when somebody is facing so much of discrimination and so much, discrimination and challenges and struggles just because of their birth, just because of the caste which they belong to. what will they do? They will believe that if they move up in the status, that is, if they move in the caste hierarchy, if they move to a better status in the caste hierarchy, then they will get all the benefits, all the privileges, the respect, and the uh, comforts and the luxuries which are enjoyed by the higher caste. Okay, so in this process, what they will do? They will start imitating the practices, the behavior, the lifestyle, the religion, the ideologies of the higher caste members, thinking that if they start doing so, one slowly they will reach the status of the higher caste and they will get all the privileges and the comforts enjoyed by the higher caste communities. Okay, so keep in mind, this is not an overnight process. It cannot happen overnight. This is a process which has been occurring since several ages and several decades. Slowly, people people across generation start practicing. They start copying. What do we mean by imitation? Imitation means copying, isn't it? We get imitation jewelry, we get imitation bags, isn't it? From our famous brands. Say, for example, like Louis Vuitton or any famous brands, we know that the price of the bag will be few lakhs. The starting range itself will be few lakhs. And not all of us can afford such bags. So, what we will do? We will buy these first copy bags, isn't it? Same goes with jewelry and many other articles, right? So, we start buying imitating products which have that imitation, which look like that, but they are not the original, isn't it? So similarly, the lower caste communities, they want to get into a better status. They want to improve their status. They want to reach a higher status in the caste hierarchy so that they can get all the privileges and the benefits and the luxuries enjoyed by the higher caste people. So what they will do in such a scenario? They will start imitating the religion, practices, customs, belief, lifestyle of the higher caste people so that they can attain that status. And this process is called as Sanskritization. Okay, so what is Sanskritization? According to M.N. Srinivas, Sanskritization is a process in which a lower caste or a tribe or any other group imitates the rituals, customs, beliefs, practices, ideology of the higher caste in order to attain that status or in order to claim that status. This is called as Sanskritization. So, how do they start imitating? How did a lower caste or a tribe or any other group start imitating the rituals or the belief or the customs of the higher caste people? Say, for example, a lower caste or a tribe may give up consumption of the non-vegetarian food. We know that in most higher castes, they do not have the practice of consuming non-vegetarian food, isn't it? It is considered as a higher status to be vegetarian among the higher caste people, isn't it? Say, take the example of Brahmins, right? So they do not consume non-vegetarian food. So what the lower caste people do is, even though they are culturally habituated to consuming non-vegetarian food, so among the tribes and among the lower caste, consuming of non-vegetarian food is a cultural practice, right? And also consumption of liquor is also a common practice. But what they will do, they will give up these practices. That is, they will stop consuming non-vegetarian food. They will start, they will stop the consumption of the liquor, okay, and they will stop the practice of animal sacrifice. So, in most of the rituals and customs of the lower communities, you can find that sacrifice is a very important aspect. So whenever they have any rituals or when they have some pujas, you can very commonly see them sacrificing either um, a rooster, or they will sacrifice a goat, or they will sacrifice a sheep, or in some communities they also have practice of sacrificing other bigger animals also. There are many animal sacrifices which happen in our country, but the most common ones are these, that is the rooster, goat or sheep. So animal sacrifice is a very common ritual among the lower caste people and the tribal communities also. Same is the case with consumption of non-vegetarian food, consumption of liquor, right? So what these people will do is they will stop the consumption of non-vegetarian food. They will stop the animal sacrifice and they will give up consumption of liquor. So all these traditional cultural practices which they have been following since several ages. So their ancestors have been following this, and they have also been continuing this from several generations. But now, in order to imitate the customs, the beliefs, the practice, the rituals of the higher caste people, they will give up all these practices. They will give up the practice of animal sacrifice. They will give up consumption of non-vegetarian food. They will also give up the consumption of liquor. Instead, they will start following the practices which are followed by higher caste people, like vegetarianism. Okay, when they have to sacrifice, they will sacrifice a lemon instead of giving a animal sacrifice to the god. Okay, they will prefer sacrificing a lemon, or then they will also start wearing the sacred thread around their chest, or the sacred thread which they wear during the marriage. So you must have, most of you all would have definitely witnessed a Hindu marriage in your lifetime. So in irrespective of which caste or community, you can see that the common practice in Hindu marriages is the guy or the groom will will tie a sacred thread, isn't it? A yellow color sacred thread on the bride's neck. Okay, so in common Hindu marriages, in all Hindu marriages, you can find this ritual, a practice, wherein the groom will tie a yellow color sacred thread on the bride's neck. So that marks the marriage, right? The marriage of the groom and the bride. So you can find that these were not common practices among which were followed among the lower caste communities. Okay, where they are tying that sacred thread, or even in among Brahmins you can find that they wear a sacred thread. That is the men in the Brahmin communities. They wear a sacred thread over their chest, right? So that is a ritual, or that is a practice, cultural practice of the Brahmins or the higher communities. So you can find that nowadays even the lower caste communities are following that. They also wear that sacred thread. They also tie this thread, that is the bride, the groom tying the thread on the bride's neck. All these were not practices which were commonly found among the tribal population or among the lower caste communities. But however, now it has become a common practice even among the tribal population and even among the lower caste communities. So they are trying to imitate the customs and the rituals of the higher caste communities in order to attain their status. Same goes with so many other rituals. If you observe in your day-to-day life, celebration of various festivals. See, you can find that the popular festivals like Dasara, Diwali, right? All these are celebrated throughout the country by members belonging to almost all the communities, irrespective of whether it is a higher caste or a lower caste. But there are specific few festivals which are which were earlier followed only by the higher caste communities. like only the Brahmins especially, like this arranging of the dolls during the Navaratri festival, or the celebration of the Varamahalakshmi festival. So like this, there are many tiny festivals which were exclusively meant and which were exclusively celebrated only by the Brahmin community or the higher caste communities. These festivals were totally unknown, or they were not practiced by the tribes or the lower caste communities, isn't it? So, but nowadays you can see all of these small festivals are also significantly celebrated even by the tribal communities and the lower caste communities also. So like this, in terms of rituals, in terms of celebration of festivals, be it in their dressing style, okay, the higher caste people, you can see they have a specific style of dressing. So when they are conducting pujas and all, you can find the women folk wearing the sari in a different style, right? So you can find that being practiced nowadays by low caste communities also. Similarly, even many other practices like going for Western education, taking up better jobs. So like this, there are many lifestyle factors also which are practiced by the upper class people or the upper caste communities. So what the lower caste communities will do, they will try to follow all of these. They will imitate the higher caste people. So they will practice their lifestyle, okay, how the higher caste communities lifestyle are, how they dress, how they dance, how they learn, classical music, or traditional dance forms or traditional classic musical forms. So all of these practices, even the lower caste communities will start imitating. Once upon a time, apart from Brahmins, nobody used to, members from other communities rarely used to learn all these classical arts, isn't it? At least some 30, 40 years prior. Now everybody can learn without any discrimination. Now anybody can learn music, Carnatic music, Hindustani music, Bharatanatyam, Kathak, or whatever dance forms, traditional dance forms, traditional music forms, or even the musical instruments. But once upon a time, say some 30, 40, 50 years ago, these classical arts, be it in music, be it in dance forms, or be it learning of the musical instruments, all of these were exclusively reserved only for the higher caste people. The lower caste people could not aspire to learn any of these, right? So slowly, the members belonging to a low caste or a tribe or any other group, they start practicing the habits, the rituals, the lifestyle, customs, ideology, and the philosophy of the higher caste. So, in this process of slowly imitating all these practices and ideologies and belief and lifestyle and customs, their ultimate motive is to reach the status of the higher caste so that they can get the privileges which the higher caste communities are enjoying and which they are deprived of. Correct? Right? So in this process, slowly they are transforming themselves from a lower caste to a higher caste. This process of transformation of a lower caste or a tribe or any other group by imitating the rituals, the customs, the practices, the belief, the ideologies, the philosophies, and the lifestyle of the higher caste community is called as Sanskritization by our M.N. Srinivas. So M.N. Srinivas gave us this concept of Sanskritization when he studied the Coorg community in the Coorg district of Karnataka. So in his study, Religion and Society among the Coorgs of South India, he gave us this concept of Sanskritization. Okay. Fine. So why do you think they are calling this as Sanskritization? What does Sanskrit has to do here? See, Sanskrit was actually considered as a noble language. So Sanskrit is considered as the language of the gods. So in olden days, only the higher caste communities could study Sanskrit and they could read, write Sanskrit. It was not a privilege of all the members belonging to other communities also. So only the higher caste members had the, they could only read, write and learn Sanskrit. So it is Sanskrit is considered as something superior and it is something which is associated with higher caste. So here because the lower caste is trying to transform themselves, they are trying to move towards the higher caste. That is the higher caste which is which um, whose the higher caste which has learnt Sanskrit. So that is why this process was termed as Sanskritization. Okay, remember Sanskrit was a language of the gods, and Sanskrit is a language associated with higher caste communities. So since the lower caste communities are moving, it is a process of mobility of the lower caste people in traditional rural India towards the higher caste. That is, they are moving towards the Sanskrit people, and that is why they called it as Sanskritization. Initially, our M.N. Srinivas used the term Brahmanization, okay, because he believed that all the lower caste communities or the tribes or other groups are moving towards the status of the Brahmins, okay, because Brahmins are the upper caste. He said that the lower caste communities are moving upward, that is, they are on a process of upward movement towards the attaining of the status of the Brahmins. So he termed this process as Brahmanization initially. Okay, first he called it as Brahmanization, but later what happened was there were many other scholars who said that this is not the right concept, because in every geographical area of our country, in every state or every village or every district, it is not the Brahmins who always occupy the topmost position in the caste hierarchy. Okay, so when we say higher caste, automatically we get to mind that the Brahmins are in the topmost class, right? But in many places, there are other communities, other castes which are in the topmost position. So in those places, the lower castes or the tribes or other groups will aspire to become like that caste, whichever is occupying the topmost. That is what we call it as the dominant caste. Okay, we have another lecture on the dominant caste. So we shall be discussing that exclusively in another lecture. As of now, we know what is the meaning of dominant caste, right? So it is a dominant caste which occupies the topmost position in the caste hierarchy. So in any region, say for example in Andhra, you can consider Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, you can consider the Telugus, the Kammas, the Naidus. These are the dominant castes. So in those regions, if you see, the members belonging to lower caste communities, they will aspire to become like the Reddis or the Kammas or the Naidus. Okay, so here using the term Brahmanization doesn't seem appropriate, isn't it? So everywhere throughout the country, the Brahmins are not occupying the topmost position in the caste hierarchy, whereas in different places, different castes which are dominant, they are occupying the topmost position. So in those places, the lower caste people will aspire to become and attain the status of the dominant caste people. Correct? So that is why many scholars confronted M.N. Srinivas saying the term Brahmanization which you are using is not the apt one. It is not the proper term to use. So then our M.N. Srinivas preferred to recoin this as Sanskritization, and he discarded the term Brahmanization. Okay. So now do you understand why it is called Sanskritization? So initially our M.N. Srinivas called this process of the upward migration of the lower caste communities in the traditional rural India as Brahmanization, but later when he was confronted by arguments from other scholars, he, he removed the term Brahmanization and he called it as Sanskritization. Okay, so he was confronted with number of other models, and so he preferred to call this process as Sanskritization. And in this, it includes various models, like we have the Kshatriya model, we have the Jat model, we have the Vaishya model, and so on. Okay. So we have, under Sanskritization, we have the Kshatriya model, we have the Jat model, and we have the Vaishya model as well. So what is the Kshatriya model? In Madras province, that is during the British rule, we had different provinces, isn't it? Madras province, Bengal province, and so on. So in the Madras province, there was a caste named Vanya Kula Kshatriya. So even now you can find that these are one of the dominant caste in Tamil Nadu. Okay. So initially these people, that is the members belonging to this caste, Vanya Kula Kshatriya, were a low caste actually. Then they started imitating the behavior of the Kshatriyas and slowly they claimed the Kshatriya status. Okay. Initially they were Vanyas. Okay. In Tamil Nadu we have a caste called as Vanyas. They are the low caste community. But slowly they started practicing and imitating the behavior of the Kshatriyas, and over a period of time they claimed the Kshatriya status, and now they are called as Vanya Kula Kshatriya. So this is the caste model. And one more important disclaimer I need to give you here. I will be using many caste names in these chapters. So in paper 2 anthropology, we have various topics wherein we discuss about various castes and higher caste and lower caste, and the status of various castes, dominant caste, the theories of origin of caste. We'll also be discussing whether there is any future left for the caste system and all. So here, please understand, we are studying these with the only intention of gaining knowledge in the subject and scoring good marks, and it is not with the intention of hurting anybody's sentiments. Okay, so please do not get hurt when we speak about any caste names. It is only for educational purposes and not with any other intention whatsoever. Okay, fine. Next, Vaishya model. So the Vaishya model, again in Tamil Nadu, we have a caste called as Nadas. So these Nadas, they were originally lower caste. Then during the British rule, these people started slowly transforming themselves into small merchants, traders, shopkeepers. Okay, so these members from this community of Nadas, they started opening small shops like petty shops, or started small business like as traders, as merchants, and so on. And slowly over a period of time, they transform themselves, and now they claim Vaishya status. Okay, so these are various models, and this is example how Sanskritization happens. Okay, so please keep in mind, Sanskritization is not an overnight process. Okay, so suppose today a tribe or a lower community thinks he wants to attain the higher caste status, overnight he cannot transform himself into a higher caste. It takes several years and decades of transformation. So all the members belonging to these communities, okay, at least majority of the members belonging to that tribe or that lower caste or that lower group, they must slowly start practicing, imitating the customs, the belief, practices, lifestyle, rituals of the higher caste, and slowly as they change their practices and rituals and cultural ideologies and philosophies and lifestyle, they slowly move towards the status of the higher caste, and they will claim the status of higher caste. Okay, so this is the Kshatriya model and this is the Vaishya model. So I hope you understood the Kshatriya and the Vaishya model in detail. Then there are various other factors also which have actually influenced this process of Sanskritization. They are the economic factors. Okay, so with the coming of the British rule, there were so many economic developments which happened, right? As I already told you, prior to the British rule and prior to independence, the caste system was very rigid. People did not have opportunity to take up other professions or move and bring do any changes. But with the coming of the British rule, with the changes that they brought, and with the improvement in transport and communication facilities, and coming of the opportunities, be it in industries in the nearby towns and cities, with migration of the people, overall, with the coming of more and more opportunities for people. So once when they were inside a village, opportunities are limited, right? They have to follow the profession of their caste. They do not have a choice. But once they get opportunities outside the nearby towns, with the coming of the industries, with the coming of other better opportunities, they started moving out of their villages. Now they could take up better opportunities or different occupations in different sectors, right? So there were various political and economic changes that happened during the British rule, and further after the independence there were so many much more important changes which were happening, be it in the agricultural sector, in our policy formulation, with respect to our constitution. We had the fundamental rights, we had laws of equality, so much of reservations and all of these activities coming up. So now this these provisions and these factors, political, economic, administrative, all of these factors facilitated the process of Sanskritization. Okay, these factors facilitated the process of Sanskritization. So the British rule in India provided more opportunities for the for the lower caste people or the tribes or other groups to improve their status. Okay, so when economically they become better, economically when they get a better status, it becomes easy for them to move up the ladder, isn't it? Fine. So the British rule in India provided lot of opportunities both in the economical sphere and political and much more in different sectors for them to move up the ladder much easier. And in this process, the lower caste people also faced a lot of hostilities from the upper caste people. As I already told you, in pre-independence India, a person from a lower caste could not think about becoming a doctor or an engineer or a teacher or any other profession apart from the profession of his caste. Suppose um, there is a boy who is born into a family of weavers, right? He has seen his grandfather, his grandparents, his parents, all of them are into the weaving sector. They are doing the weaving work. Now, suppose he aspires to become a teacher, or suppose he aspires to become a doctor. He did not have the opportunity. Members of the higher caste would not allow him to take up any other professions. They would say, no, you are born into this community, this is your profession, and you have to do this profession only. How can you aspire to become something else? Your grandfather has done this, your father has done this, so now you have to do this, right? So that is how it was occupational restrictions was. So in pre-independence India, caste-based occupational restrictions were rigid, but that is not the case anymore. Thanks to our constitution and lot of reforms which have happened in our country during the colonial rule as well as post-independence, now all of us, no matter which caste or community or which region or which part of the country we belong to, every single person has equal liberty and opportunities to pursue whatever he wishes to do in life. Okay, that is legally. Okay, so while the process of transforming themselves, that is during the process of Sanskritization, the lower caste people also face lot of struggles and challenges and hostilities from the higher caste people. So Sanskritization, if you ask me, ma'am, was it confined only to the Hindus? What about other religions like Islam, okay, or Sikhs? So even among Islams, we have different castes, isn't it? So even though every religion preaches equality, again there is caste in all the religions also. So even among Islams, even among Sikhs also, we have the higher caste, we have the lower caste. So this process of Sanskritization can be found even among these religions as well. Okay. So I hope you got a clear picture and a good understanding of the concept of Sanskritization given by our Indian anthropologist M.N. Srinivas. Okay, so if you have any queries, you can put it down in the comment section below, and I will be making much more such interesting lectures for you. And until I meet you in the next lecture, take care, bye, have a good day.